Yo, what's up, guys? What's up? What's up? Hey, another AMA with the YGG community. Good evening to the people in Asia, and of course, good morning to Mr. Albert Chen. My name is John Sedano, Community Marketing Manager for Yield Guild Games, and my partner, the one and only, Mr. Sari Toby.
How's
Hey
it going,
guys,
sir? Good to be on another one.
Good, man.
great to
I
be
hope
here.
you guys don't mind the Christmas spirit in the background. So
I love it.
let me just getting ready. But sorry, Toby. Glad to see you guys. Mr. Albert Chen. The community, everyone at home, don't forget to share the stream. And we're on right now. I know this is quite an anticipated AMA, especially for our our gym buffs out there, our runners. And I myself looking forward to it. Saratobi,
Ab-
what are your thoughts on
ab-
this game, on this project rather?
Absolutely, I've been a huge fan of GENOPETS since I first got introduced to it by the guys. Really enjoyed their take on it. Lots of interesting influences from different places. Clearly, big Pokemon fans. I think for any of those who are kind of AMA loyal crew out there who joined
I'm ready.
the AMAs,
I'm
I've
ready.
probably
I'm ready.
spoken about Pokemon a few times. I was one of the only people in Pokemon Red and Blue that used to rock a team with 3 Mewtwo's. Yeah.
Right there. I might be sending you a
And I'd
T-shirt.
even gone so far that I had one of my Mewtwo's, and I used the ability you could customize their moves if you used a specific special move. So I created an elemental Mewtwo.
Okay. Now we're talking.
Yeah.
That's very much in
custom-
line with the spirits of GENOPETS. Awesome. That's great to hear.
There you go. So yes, we're proud to have invested in GENOPETS in YGG. It kind of combines some really interesting themes, which I think we'll be familiar with from kind of the kind of monster battling games that we've played. But there's some really interesting kind of different takes in the way that it kind of integrates health and fitness, like you alluded to there a second ago, Sedano. But obviously, I'll kind of pass this now over to the real experts, Albert, who's joining us, and give the audience the elevator pitch for GENOPETS.
Yeah, sure. Hey, so I'm Albert. I'm the CEO of GENOPETS. GENOPETS is the world's first move to earn blockchain game that incentivizes you to be active in your daily lives. Yeah, that's my elevator pitch.
That's pretty awesome. That's a nice, short, concise. Now, obviously,
Exactly.
there's so much more. There's so much more to it than that. There's some super awesome kind of tokenomics aspects to it. There's also the fact that the one thing that I've really loved from when I was told about the project was when you're doing the battles, you're actually going to have to do like brain challenges.
Oh yeah,
like,
it
when
keeps you
you're-
active both physically and mentally. So
Yeah.
that's-
So I don't know
that's
if you're
the
aware
key.
of this, Sedano, but if I was battling you, I could basically send you a puzzle. It's like a kind of mental maths puzzle. It's not maths, but it's like you have to remember the pattern. When I fire the pattern at you, you have to complete the pattern at a certain speed. So
Dude, my memory, please, like, give me anything except math and memory puzzles. Like, I'm good.
yeah, so maybe this isn't the game for Sedano. Then perhaps.
I'll try though. I'll try. Ever since I've seen the teaser, aside from it being very unique and basically these guys I think are the only guys doing this kind of a project. I'm really excited. And I do have a lot of community members who have been bugging me, asking me about when the AMAs are going to be. And yeah, I'm glad that we're here. Finally.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here as well. YGG has been a great partner of ours, and it just it's surreal to be able to be here. So very, very blessed.
So
Yeah,
I think a good kind of way to think about it is like, if I'm a GENOPETS player, right? I open up my phone. There's my GENOPETS. Obviously, I think the GENOPETS itself is going to be a free asset, right? That anybody can hatch when they start the game.
Yeah.
What's then the kind of next steps for the for the people in the audience? How do I kind of jump in and start earning and playing GENOPETS?
Yeah. So couple of things there. One of the main key takeaways from that question is the free part. of the gameplay. So yes, once our app is out and you download the app, you can play the game and hatch a free GenoPet without paying any money. Now, the key here is that when you hatch a free GenoPet, it starts off as an infant. So there's hardly any attributes. There will be a certain type of DNA that goes with your GenoPet, but basically when it first starts, it's a blank slate. Now compare that with the Genesis GenoPets, not to be confused with them, because if you go on Magic Eden or Solana or FTX US today, you'll be able to see a bunch of Genesis GenoPets being listed there. Those are different. Those are basically a playable GenoPet, but also a collectible, and it starts off at stage 4 evolution. All GenoPets that are free will start from level 1, which is an infant state. Now, once you get there, you can start moving. So when we launch our first version of the game, it will basically just be banking your steps. So as you move around in your daily movement, you can start earning XP once you bank your steps, and with the XP, you can slowly make upgrades to your pet. Now, we do have a paid side of the game where if you start paying for crystals or power-ups, you can level up your pet much faster. And these are all player created. What that means is there's a key NFT here called the habitat. A habitat is where your Genesis GenoPet lives, and this is very much how we designed the economic model to allow for free to play and pay to play. So once you buy a habitat or craft a habitat, and the way that we will drop the habitat will be announced later. But once you craft the habitat, your GenoPet lives in the habitat, and your habitat starts generating unrefined crystals. And with these unrefined crystals, you can put in use gene tokens to refine them, and there will be different recipes to create power-ups from these crystals. That's a way to get ahead faster by paying for NFTs. But absolutely, you can play for free and walk and battle your friends and have a great time without having to spend a cent.
Awesome. I mean, dude, like right now we have community members, who are basically, he's a known gym buff. His name is a young Yujiro, and he's going crazy. He's going nuts about, about actually having this. I mean, it's just, Pokemon Go, but Ghost blockchain basically. And I mean, including all these other features, like in my opinion, like the project has solid potential to be competitive with the other projects in the space. I mean, not to mention that you guys are going for your own, unique target market. But then my question is, so what was actually, the backstory? Like, how did you actually think about, or you and the team actually think about having this executed? Like,
Yeah, it's backstory is funny. This is actually in the making for the last 3 years. So we have 3 co-founders: is Jay, Ben, and me. But Ben and I started this project in March. But before that, we were co-founders together in multiple businesses since 2011. In 2018, we won the EOS Global Hackathon with a project called GeneOS, which people can look up. It was basically a decentralized genetics/health data marketplace. The original vision was to bring about passive income to people by monetizing their health data. Now, fast forward a year later, we discovered that the infrastructure for that kind of market doesn't exist yet on the demand side and on the supply side. On the demand side, there aren't a lot of pharmaceutical companies or researchers paying for this kind of structured data yet, because they're still trying to figure out how to best use this data. So that's the shortcoming from the demand side. And on the supply side, zero knowledge protocols aren't mature enough to allow for a decentralized, non-custodial way of monetizing this data. So we shelved it. We closed down the company in 2020. However, Ben, being the creative guy that he always is, in 2019, as early as 2019, he said, "Hey, since we're making the access to your health data and NFT, why can't this NFT be something fun? So as early as 2019, he came up with the name GENOPETS, and at the time, you know, being the more practical person, I was like, well, you know, nobody is buying NFTs right now or using NFTs right now as early as 2019. So we didn't pursue that idea. Now, earlier this year, in January, the first game that I actually saw that was similar to like a pet game was Axie Infinity, and then later on Zed Run, and that got my brain running, and I thought maybe this is something we can actually do. The vision here is to provide other ways for people to earn, especially during the pandemic. So, you know, we're very gung ho about our vision, but we're flexible about how we achieve it. And it turned out, as we started looking at this closer and closer, that play to earn was how we would reach it. Eventually, our goal would be to combine both visions, but for now, I think creating a sustainable play to earn economy while incentivizing people to be healthy was the goal. So we got to working in about April or May, building out the demo, building out all the designs, and and that 6 months later, here we are.
Awesome. I mean, like first thoughts, like right after that is, I mean, I'm excited to see the pets. I'm excited to see the monsters. And I mean, are we going to be expecting as much diversity as, as a direct comparison like Pokemon? How many, how many pets are there? I remember Saratobi sharing of flexing a bit of his a bit of his a bit of his stash right there. But I mean, hopefully we get to see it again later, Mr. Saratobi. But like at this moment, so how is it exactly unique, and what are the characteristics of these pets that you are most excited about and that you would want to share to someone who's hearing about GENOPETS for the first time?
For the first time. Great. I love this question because this is where we are really unique on. So one thing to keep in mind here is that Pokemon is more like a collection game. There's defined Pokemons and evolutionary paths. Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard. For GENOPETS, we're an evolution game, meaning that your pet is completely customizable. We've designed this so that the pet is completely modular, and you can see this during our Genesis GENOPET mint, and Saratobi has one actually. We basically separated the model out into many components that we call augments. And each of these have potentially infinite numbers of permutations. But right now, for our Genesis GENOPET, just that alone, I think the number falls to about like 20 million different permutations of the GENOPETs. And that's just the beginning. We're going to keep releasing new augments and new body parts. And by the time everybody can play this game for free, it will be completely different from Pokemon in that you can craft a GENOPET that is unique to your own vision.
Awesome. I mean, Saratobi, I bet. I mean, I myself can't wait to get my hand on my first GENOPETs. But, so how do we actually like for let's say for for the newbies and the community, how do we start participating in GENOPETs? Like, what are the baby steps to be part of your community and hopefully get hands on some pets like Saratobi himself?
Yeah. So the best way to get involved is joining our Discord. We have a pretty active Discord, and I'm in there pretty often talking to the members. I think right now it's an interesting time to talk to you guys because we just ended our GENOPETs, our Genesis GENOPETs hatching yesterday, about almost I think 21 hours ago. So I was pretty active in there, just asking everybody who hasn't hatched yet to hatch. We had about a 96% hatch rate, which is decent, but could be higher. So a bunch of people, I think 115 people missed their hatch. So right now, as of right now, you cannot hatch a Genesis GENOPET, but you can stay tuned to our official release of our private beta. and get in that way. So private beta will be prioritized to Genesis GenoPet holders, but then we will start slowly opening it up to the general public as well. And staying active in Discord is absolutely how you can get involved there. Meanwhile, we'll be launching our Habitats NFTs as well in the next few weeks to a month. We're doing this not in the way that usual NFT sales go. We're making it kind of a puzzle to figure out the recipe. So you have to collect a bunch of NFTs and figure out how to get a unique habitat that way. So that will the details for that will be announced in the coming days and week. But that's something to be aware of that's coming up for us soon.
Awesome. So, I mean, for those in the audience, can you say a little bit about what a habitat is? I mean, I can just before you do tell us, I can say that habitats are one of the kind of core things that YGG has acquired privately in advance, and really excited to distribute those out to our community. But can you tell the audience what exactly the habitats do?
Yeah, sure. So I'll expand a little bit from what the brief introduction I did on habitats earlier. But basically, we've engineered the GenoPets economy to split up the free side and the paid side. So free players can come in, but in order to participate in the economy, they have to buy NFTs. And in order to continuously earn our key token, which is our reward token, they have to have their GenoPet live in a habitat. Now, habitat comes in different levels. The main difference is the number of crystals that are being spawned on it. So going back to what I was saying earlier, your habitat spawns unrefined crystals every day. And these unrefined crystals can be refined using gene tokens and key tokens and become an NFT that you can use. Now, this NFT becomes the building block to the crafting part of our game. So currently we have 5 different types of core elemental crystals, and by combining them, you get different kinds of power-ups, perhaps in the future even augments and other items. But the sky's the limit. The fun of this is to find out the different recipes for what these crystals make, and so on and so forth. Now, the habitat is, if you're paying attention here, the habitat basically becomes the main yield generating asset in the game, because once you have a habitat, you get 2 things on a regular basis. When you have a habitat, you walk around in the game, you earn key tokens on a daily basis, but you also earn the ability to generate other NFTs that you can trade or use in game for item crafting. So it's basically the core of the economic flywheel in our gameplay. So
that's awesome. No, thanks for the deeper dive there. Absolutely, that's pretty awesome. Yes, I suppose leading on from that rather, you guys have obviously chosen to build on Solana. That's great to see. There's obviously a lot of interesting developments happening on Solana. Could you tell us a little bit about your kind of reasoning for choosing Solana over other kind of L1 or L2s, and how you kind of foresee the future for kind of projects built on Solana?
Sure. Yeah. Well, one thing here, shout out to Metaplex. That this is what we're the protocol we're building on, which is the NFT protocol on Solana. We chose Solana very early on, just simply because me personally, I'm a huge believer of scaling on layer 1 instead of doing rollups, because it maximizes composability. And just as a user, I started using Solana earlier this year, like in Q1 this year, and I just really, really liked the experience. And I took a deep dive into their philosophy, and it was very unique and very different from other L1 scaling solutions or sidechains that I've looked at. So from a technical perspective, it checked out. And lastly, it was because of the great community and really smart people backing it that made me realize, or that made me think that, hey, this is something that's different. I've been in this space for 5 years, and the amount of s- smart and intelligent people backing Solana has been unrivaled. So decided, just follow my heroes, I guess. Now, in terms of um, in terms of other things that we're using in Solana, one of the key things is, like I mentioned, Metaplex. They create a really easy to use framework on Solana to mint NFTs, update NFTs. It's part of the reason why we're able to do a lot of cool things, such as hatching your egg, or if your egg doesn't hatch, it cracks, or your Genesis pets can get hatched and updated. All of these things would be very, very expensive to do on Ethereum, but relatively inexpensive on Solana, and fast as well. So yeah, so that's kind of in a nutshell why we chose Solana and what we're doing on it.
No, that's awesome. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, in a future where perhaps like lots of chains interoperate more, would you ever imagine GENOPETS kind of existing across multiple chains, or do you think you're just going to be completely
No,
unstoppable?
I think multi-chain. I personally believe multi-chain is the future, and this is why when we launched our Gene token, it was a multi-chain launch with BSC and Solana. I think NFTs having utility, it's across chains will take a little bit, just because the standardization of metadata and so on will take a little bit. I'm excited to see how that works. I mean, Wormhole is already enabling bridging between Solana assets and Ethereum. We haven't used that quite yet because we don't have any presence on Ethereum just yet. But I believe, as time goes by, you should be able to own these assets across chains. And whether you can, stake them or put them in game across chains, that's probably still a year or two away. The complexity of which, would have to be sorted out.
Awesome, great. I mean, like it's really good to see like more and more games building on Solana. I mean, not to mention that I personally, believe in the project that are here, but um, I might be wrong, but I have a vibe that Solana is becoming like a hotspot for all the upcoming games that have good potential. I mean, I need not go into the details of all the other games, but I mean, it's glad to see that you guys are on the same platform, and that just gives a bit more confidence in in the whole project of GenoPets. But yeah, I mean, for the community who's listening right now, we do have a lot of really interesting questions, so we're gonna be flashing those in a bit before we go back to Saratobi. I mean, right after Saratobi. And yeah, so for those who want to engage in the conversations on live, so we have our AMA discussion channel on Discord. That's discord.gg/YGG. And for everyone else on the other social media platforms, feel free to drop your messages. Feel free to drop your questions on Twitter. I mean, on Twitch, on YouTube, and on Facebook. But yeah, back to you, Saratobi.
I'm curious, how many people are watching?
Well, across different platforms, I'd say more or less 100.
Okay.
Maybe uh, on average, 100 on average. But yeah, shout out to everyone who's there. Saratobi, or would you want me to go ahead and shoot the first question right up on screen? I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no. I mean, I think we've kind of gone through there. I suppose like a kind of final question for me would just be, obviously, YGG being a kind of play to earn blockchain gaming guild. How do you see kind of guilds participating in GenoPets? Is there going to be some sort of guild on guild mechanic as kind of baked into the game, or how do you kind of see that working?
Yeah, so one of the first things that we're partnering up with guilds like yourself is the acquisition of habitats for your scholars. So these habitats will be branded and basically used to incentivize scholars to play this game. As mentioned earlier, habitats are the main economic driver of the game and could be out of reach for some people. So in order to get into the paid side of the game, guilds such as YGG can provide scholars with a habitat to get started. On more of the gameplay side of things, I feel like battle would be where the guild aspect of it also comes into play. So once we have PvP, you could potentially have tournaments between guilds, which would be really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Which
really good to hear.
which guild is the fittest? Now that would be an interesting
Yeah.
question. I noticed from one of the comments earlier from one of the viewers on YouTube was about being a cyclist. Do you think there's any ways that like other forms of physical activity could ever be kind of incorporated in, like other than just steps? So like if you kind of like you could incorporate like other physical exercise into training up your Genopet as well in the future?
Yeah, I mean, we're fully positioned to do so, right? The reason why we're starting with steps is just because it's simpler, easier to access. You just need a phone to get started. With cycling, it gets a lot harder to weed out cheaters and get accurate data. We're working on it. Cycling is definitely one of the activities we want to feature, along with many others such as resistance training. There's a lot of ways to get active in your lifestyle, right? But the main bottleneck we have right now is that the technical ability to accurately capture that data without exposing it to exploits. So the answer is definitely, and we're actively talking to different kind of wearables. And in the future, this is going to be something we're really looking forward to. Is that if a wearable proves to be really, really really accurate and tracking a certain activity, we can have them come on and sponsor the rewards from that activity in game.
Awesome.
So that becomes something that's really cool that we can do in partnerships.
That's amazing, man. Like, I'm really glad that you actually like brought it up, because I mean, like for most projects, like the hard question is, like how do you deal with bad actors? And I mean, for Pokemon Go, it was pretty easy on the onset, just downloading a GPS app and just popping everywhere all around the world and farming everything. But I mean, yeah, that's really good to hear, and that you guys are actually a foot ahead and you guys are actually looking at it, because definitely from the community perspective, there's one of the hard questions that not everyone could answer. But I mean, on the brighter side of things, you mentioned about possibly, did I get it right, possibly hardware opportunities that is only compatible with GENOPETS tie-ups with other brands, because I do have a very cool question right here, so I'm just gonna flash it right on screen.
Awesome.
And he's actually asking, so I mean, the gist of it is, yeah, so are there other what are the other possibilities with other projects that you want to expound on? I mean, you've mentioned hardware, and the guy, I mean, our friend over here has mentioned he even has his profile photo is even on a bicycle. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So I guess the question is there any chance that we will work with sports organizations or associations like the Olympics? The answer is yes. That's the holy grail. How we get there will probably take a lot of work, but our vision is that GENOPETS will become the de facto lifestyle emblem of anybody who's into fitness, right? So like the goal here is that every athlete or anybody into fitness around the world will have a GENOPET or more GENOPETs. So yeah, maybe in the future, like at the Olympics, next to their name, you can also check out their GENOPET, and that would basically be the holy grail of our experience. So yes.
Awesome. Pretty dope. I mean, so for everyone, there's your answer. So I have another question. So it's from Zhongmin Cha, and his yeah. I mean, we might have missed it earlier, but we'd love to hear it again, especially from you. So is there any advantage for early engaged players for the beta test?
Early engagement, yes. So most earnings that you earn in the beta test will be kept. And as we mentioned before, since we haven't launched both the second token, the earliest players will earn rewards in our governance token Gene. So that's one of the advantages of being early in the beta test. And also you'll get to shape the world. So we are very active with our community, and our phases of the gameplay are largely set in big phases, but small Small features in the game are absolutely up to community feedback. So if you are engaged in our beta early, you can help shape the game.
Dope, dude. I mean, I just want to make a shout out to our friends over here on the AMA discussion channel. So shout out to everyone who's throwing in their questions and those who are actually like helping out. So we have Dragonville, who's just been answering a lot of questions from the community, and yeah, looking forward to
Yeah.
everyone's questions. So keep them coming. We still have a few minutes while we have Albert here with us tonight. I mean, yeah, Saratobi, back to you. Mind us telling a bit more about your Genopet, because I'm gonna be sharing my screen right here, and yeah, just
Oh,
showing
you can
everybody
actually.
at home.
Oh wait, can you share? I think I sent you the pic of my. Oh, that's not my one. I actually DM'd you my one, Sedano.
Okay, give me 1 second while you go ahead and yeah, flex your talk about your how you got your Genopet and what you most exactly are excited about it. And I'm just gonna be showing everyone this reel that I found on the Genopets YouTube for everyone to check out at home. So go ahead, Sergio.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, so basically, I was lucky enough to, from having spoken to the lovely team at Genopets, had the opportunity to get one of the Genesis Genopets, and yeah, they as you can see from the images flashing, they're really cool. I think mine is an interesting kind of purple and yellow ones, even though those black ones look pretty sick, to be honest, though, don't they? So yeah, I'm probably most excited about just jumping out there, and obviously I suppose it's kind of multifaceted. One, it'll give that's my one there. It's like a kind of purple stag, kind of very much kind of combining things like the Patronus of Harry Potter or something like that.
Yeah, right.
Love the tailenders.
But yeah. So I mean, I suppose I'm looking forward to actually having an excuse to try and get out and about and be a bit more active. I did do a suggestion as like, could you kind of earn from the amount of time spent in Google Meets, because then I'd be a millionaire. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. But I would actually be a millionaire if it was based around time spent in Google Meets. But yeah, no. So that's kind of one aspect, and then of course, really interested from the sort of the scholar community jumping on kind of the mass participation piece of lots of people jumping on and kind of competing against each other, and the kind of positive impact. I know that some scholars that I speak to from playing Axie, get stuck at home, and this gives them how I like that question. How much can I earn with 1,000 push-ups? That's a good question.
Well, right now we're not tracking push-ups, so probably 0.
So it's just steps and running. That's the big
for now. Yeah,
big thing.
Push-ups are going to be harder. There are companies out there that's doing like computer vision tracking, and we're talking to a few, and hopefully something pans out, and we'll be able to offer that.
I mean, if that guy could do 1,000 push-ups while running, dude, I myself would, send him over some Genopets. But I mean, yeah, that's good. That's really good to hear.
I mean,
I really
by that point, they're probably breaking some kind of record, right? And
I don't think it is possible to do push-ups and run at the same time.
I think this person will prove you wrong.
Yeah, maybe. Also, I don't know if they meant like 1,000 push-ups in one go, because even that in itself is pretty impressive. But yeah, make sure to keep up with the Genopets guys by following them on Twitter, joining their Discord. Make sure to keep up for updates. They'll be, operationally in the kind of YGG community, we'll be kind of busting out some Genopets stuff very, very soon. I'm sure we'll have the boys from Genopets back on after the game is launched, and we can do some like live streaming of the game as well, and have some battles and some competition, and maybe dive into the life of someone and their earning adventure with Genopets. Will be an interesting thing. We can see who's the most hardcore runner out there in the YGG community, and maybe even in the Genopets community. We have to get this into the hands of those the Olympic marathon runners and stuff like that. That'll be what needs to happen. But keep up to date with the guys, and thank you for coming on, Albert, and thank you for everybody in the audience for listening as always. And I'm sure we'll be speaking to you guys again very soon. We have an AMA this Friday with Ignite tournaments. So stay tuned for Friday. And yep, thanks again, guys, for coming on and listening to us and what we had to say today.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Awesome. Cheers, peace, Merry Christmas, everyone. See you guys soon.
Merry Christmas.
See you guys. Bye.